Why would you want to pick up a Cine lens when you've got amazing still lenses now that can do it all? They have amazing autofocus and incredible sharpness. Well, sometimes you don't want those things. Today's video is sponsored by Audio.com, an awesome service for all your royalty-free music and sound effects needs. Make sure you check out the link down below. Now, I'll happily say that I don't think a Cine lens should be one of the first things you go out and buy when building up your kit as a filmmaker. They are very much something that I think you should work towards, and there are plenty of great, much more affordable lenses out there that you should start out with. You really want to start out with something that's much more versatile, that can be used for lots of different jobs, because you're going to be doing various different jobs for different clients in different places, and you need something that can work in all those different situations, which certainly Cine lenses don't fit that bill. That said, once you've started to build up a bit of a kit of great lenses for your camera setup, then maybe you want to start exploring other options to get different looks. There are a few reasons why you'd want to use a Cine lens over your still lenses that you probably already have. First up is the actual lens character. Now, what we mean by that is really kind of the flaws of a lens, which maybe seems the opposite of what you should be doing when purchasing a camera equipment. We often look and pixel peep and we kind of go, we want the absolute perfect image coming from our cameras. But when it comes to cinema lenses, that's generally not the case. Often we're looking for some of those flaws. We're looking for some of those characteristics that make that lens look unique and gives you a certain style and overall look to the film that you're making. Lenses play a big role in how the image that you're producing is going to look, much more so than the camera that you are using. You do though need to know when and where you want to use a particular look from a Cine lens, and that is a big thing you need to be aware of. In a lot of situations, the still lens that you already own is probably the better option to go with, as you want a more neutral, sharp look. You don't want your client complaining about the vignetting or the sharpness or the fall off over the edges. You want to make sure that they're happy with the image they're getting. So they really do need to understand what you're providing if you're going to decide to use Cine lenses. The second reason why you'd want to use Cine lenses is to have a matching set. One of the big things that Cine lenses provide is they ensure consistency between the different focal lengths. So when you jump between one focal length to another, you're not going to see a shift in the color of that lens. They're all going to look very similar to each other. Now, of course, affordable Cine lenses aren't going to be as good as much more expensive high-end ones, but they are pretty impressive, and we're seeing some great results from all the different manufacturers in this area. Another thing that often matches on Cine lens sets as well is the fact that they make sure that all the gearings are in the matching position. They're often the same filter size, just to make things a lot easier when switching between lenses. Another big reason why you go for Cine lenses is the fact that they don't focus breathe. You're not seeing any focus breathing, whereas they get that zooming in and out. It can be really distracting to the viewer as you pull focus. This isn't such a big deal now with G Master lenses and Sony's focus breathing and compensation in their cameras. However, it does mean you're cropping in on the image. You're definitely sacrificing if you go down that route. Now, the main reason I decided to pick some Cine lenses up is actually because of that focus ring. One of my biggest frustrations of mirrorless lenses in particular is the fact that it's all focused by wire. It's very difficult to do nice, smooth manual focuses, especially if you're trying to repeat that movement. I find that if you're trying to do manual focus and you want to follow something, or often if you're not following a person's face deliberately, maybe you want to do it for creative reasons, you want to have a bit of in and out focus, or you want to set a certain focus point, then suddenly autofocus lenses just really don't work, even if you're using them in a manual focus and using them with a follow focus. That's not the case, of course, with these Cine lenses, as they are fully manual. You're getting very precise movement, you're getting a nice long focal throw, so you can really be precise with the focusing that you're doing. And that is just something that's really nice to do on certain types of shoots. Now, you may have noticed at the start of this video, I had some really nice music and sound effects that I applied to the video. And sound makes such a big difference when you're making your films. It really can make or break. It's 50% of what you're trying to produce. So you really need some decent music and sound effects to achieve that. And that's where today's sponsor, Audio.com, comes in. I have used Audio since they launched a few years ago, and they have been incredible with their music quality they've been producing over that time. All of their music can be used in your commercial shoots, so you don't need to worry about any concerns about copyright. It's all royalty free. You can use it on your YouTube videos, your client videos, even for broadcast as well. What's really nice about audio.com is they use real artists. These are songs that sound like they are something you'd find on Spotify, but actually these are songs that you can use in your films. And what's great right now, if you use my code Jonathan70, is you can get 70% off an Audio Pro license for the first year. That means unlimited access to all their music and sound effects. So why did I decide to go with the DZO Vespid primes in particular? Well, there are plenty of options in this price bracket. It's become a very competitive market, and I think probably DZO were one of the first to really bring out a kit, and that's kind of the main reason why I decided to pick up some of their lenses. I like the idea that they have a full kit out there already available. A lot of these new manufacturers, they've released a couple out there of lenses, or a set of 3 perhaps, and they're promising to release more in the future. But with DZO, they have already produced a big set of lenses that you can keep adding to over time, which is nice to see. You can of course also buy them as a whole kit in one go, which is also great, so you know that you've got all the focal lengths that you need. The second reason I picked up these ones in particular is the amount of character they have. They have a little bit of character, they have a few flaws that certainly you can see in the examples that I'm showing now, but they're a bit more subtle than some of the other options out there. They're not too strong in terms of giving you a particular look. What's nice about these Vespid primes is, although they do have a little bit of character, they do have a few little flaws that give them their particular looks, they're not as strong as some of the others. You can definitely use these in a lot of shoot situations where you want a more neutral look to your image, but you still want the advantages of using a Cine lens. Then there is the price, and to be honest, that is one of the big reasons why I decided to pick up these ones. They're really affordable. Now, there are some more affordable Cine lenses that are out there from other manufacturers, but I feel that £1,000 each lens isn't too bad compared to the competition, especially in the past when it came to Cine lenses. I think with the build quality of these lenses, they're all metal, really well made, really nice and smooth, and the quality that you're getting out of them, I'm really pleased with the prices of these lenses. The final reason why I went with the DZOs in particular is the fact that they are EF mount. To me, that is a big deal because it means we can use them across all of our cameras. After all, these are fully manual lenses. There's no advantage really to them being a mirrorless mount. By being EF, I can just use an adapter and I can use it on my Sony FX3 as they are full frame, but I can also use it on my Blackmagic Pocket 6K Pro, or I can use it on my Canon C70. It's so nice to have a lens set that can be used across the board when it comes to a Cine lens, and it just means it's a better investment overall. Whether you change your camera setup in the future, you switch to a different brand, you'll know with this set that they will work on those other cameras as well. Finally, what made me choose the 35mm and the 90mm macro lenses out of all the options that DZO have? Well, the 35, that's because I just really like that focal length. I often find when I'm shooting people, that's kind of where I end up shooting, in that sort of area. And then the second lens I decided to go for was the 90mm macro. And honestly, it's because I think it's a nice kind of jump in focal length, so when I do need a longer focal length, paired with the 35mm, this is going to work really well. That's one of the reasons. And the other reason is for the macro ability. Partly because I want to give clients something unique that they just can't get on their mobile phone nowadays. We've seen the quality of phone footage on the iPhone 15 Pro, for example, how good that is. But at the end of the day, it's only got certain focal lengths it can do. With a macro lens, you're going to get some really unique shots that are just impossible to achieve any other way. Once again, thank you to Audio for sponsoring this video. Make sure you use my code Jonathan70 to get 70% off your first year of Audio Pro. It's an awesome deal and definitely worth signing up for. I hope this has helped you in deciding whether you should pick up a cinema lens for your Sony FX3. As I mentioned, it's not something that you should do initially. Certainly invest in your still lenses. Make sure you have a decent kit that's going to be working really great for your clients. However, when you want to start expanding out of that and you want to experiment a bit more, definitely check out the DZO lenses because I've really enjoyed using them so far.